News, a break in a John Doe case finally answers for a local family.
For a year and a half, the identity of a young man hit by a train in Brooklyn remained a mystery.
Investigator Sarah Goldenberg shows us how investigators found his identity not far from where he was found.
This was Cuyahoga County's most recent John Doe case until now. We featured Brooklyn John Doe in our series Unidentified in hopes of uncovering his name. We can now tell you he's been identified as Nathaniel Dabrowski. In a busy part of Brooklyn, just off 480 near Tiedemann and Brook Park roads, a train conductor discovered the body of a young man on the tracks back in November 2023. Sadly, he died by suicide. That set off a search to find his name and his family. It turns out those answers were right around the corner the whole time.
He lived actually not far from the location he was found, but he was somewhat transient, and I think that led to, him not necessarily being missing to some folks because he kind of came and went to some extent.
Dr. Thomas Gilson is the Cuyahoga County medical examiner. Investigators from his office poured through local missing persons reports and checked nearby hotels, schools, and community centers. But they would later learn no missing persons report was ever filed. In December, they entered Brooklyn John Doe's DNA and fingerprints into police databases, but got no hits. Then they worked with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, releasing this bulletin with touched-up photos and key details seeking the public's help.
But that's going to depend, did somebody see that? And I think, the best we can do is cross our fingers and hope in those situations.
In March 2024, the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office reached out to the DNA Doe Project, hoping to find his identity with investigative genetic genealogy by using his DNA to find family tree matches. But that takes time to uncover. Then, in April 2025.
And here comes Nathan's family and says, we're worried that might be Nathan. And then we were able to get x-rays and do a comparison to identify him.
We don't know much about Nathaniel Dabrowski. Here's a photo of him from his driver's license. We know he was 27 years old and grew up in Brooklyn. Justin Wilson, chief investigator, says they don't stop looking for the identities of John and Jane Does like him.
This one, it does mean a lot to our unit and our whole office because it just shows that you keep going, you don't give up, you do what you can, and it's going to happen in the end. You're going to be able to reconnect that family.
But they need your help when you have a missing loved one, or if you recognize someone in one of their cases.
Science can only go so far. We can do fingerprints, we can do DNA, but if they're not in a database to search, we do rely on the public for a lot of information and help.
Finally, some answers for Nathaniel's family. If you have a missing loved one, you can submit your DNA at a local police station or submit it to Project Link with BCI and possibly connect it to a case out there. Sarah Goldenberg, 19 News.
Our series Unidentified has profiled about 24 John and Jane Doe cases. You can watch those stories at cleveland19.com under the 19 Investigates tab.
And if you or someone you know is struggling, you can call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free and confidential and available around the clock.